Magnus here, and today we're talking about the EOS R5 and what Canon just said about it.
Whoa, wait a minute.
What?
If you're using the 5D Mark IV,
No, I'm using the 1DX Mark III. That's why I've got the Canon 5D Mark IV right here.
whoa, can we use it? I would love to use that camera.
We'll test it out tomorrow. But let me just continue on and welcome. If you're new here, consider subscribing where I talk about cameras, what to do with them, and basically testing them out and what you can do on a budget. But in this actual episode, we're going to talk about the EOS R5 and the fact that Canon is basically saying, you know what, guys, we're going to feed you a little bit more, possibly because the camera might not come out until much later. So Canon's starting to trickle down some more information about the EOS R5 because basically Canon's got this reputation of pretty much crippling all of the cameras that they released within the past few years. I mean, the 5D Mark IV that I've got in my hands was somewhat of a disappointment with its 4K capabilities and even some of its dynamic range settings and a lot of the other settings that you have in this camera that were just kind of maybe not worse than the competition or much worse, but they were not surprisingly good or above and beyond the competition, which was a bit sad because the competition since then has been releasing cameras like Sony with the A7 III and A7R4 and the A9 and the A9 Mark II, just killing it in the mirrorless game. And when Canon came out with their mirrorless cameras, which is the EOS R and the EOS RP, it didn't wow anyone. In fact, the EOS R was a bit disappointing because it just seemed like an upgraded 5D Mark IV. But now we've got the EOS R5, which I've talked about plenty of times, and it's been rumored to have 8K, it's been rumored to have 4K, 120 frames per second, bunch of other features, but Canon basically has been, you know what, cat's out of the bag, but not completely. Let's hit you in on some of the specifications that it does have to keep you excited and see what we can give you. Now, of the confirmed specs, I'm not going to base this off a rumor site, just from Canon themselves. It does 8K video and it does full frame 4K, but the 8K video was long speculated to be cropped by many. And if it did have a crop, it was probably not going to be that much of a crop because 8K is about 33 megapixels, which would still be more megapixels than the 5D Mark IV. But it's also been speculated to have around at least 40 or above when it comes to a megapixel count. Nothing's confirmed yet, but that's kind of what people are assuming, which would mean if it did have a crop, it probably wouldn't be significant. But everyone expected Canon to give a crop to the 8K because, quite frankly, Canon tends to do that. Canon tends to at least put it down a notch and tell you a feature, but then not tell you the cons of the feature, such as 4K on the 5D Mark IV, and then, oh yeah, it's got a crop. Oh yeah, it's got MJPEG as a codec. Good luck with that, but it's great. So, but this time it's like pretty much you're getting 8K. 8K full frame, and that's what they wanted to announce. Not only full frame, but you actually get 30 frames per second, which many were speculating. If you do get 8K video, what is it going to be, like 15 frames per second? Or maybe it maxes out at 24 frames per second and that's it, which is still not bad. But no, it's giving you the full 30 frames per second. Now, they didn't mention 24 frames per second, but chances are, if it can do 30 frames per second, they're going to do 24 frames per second. And we all learned previously from Canon's other releases that if you don't do 24, we're probably going to make you put it in there later because that's a preferred mode that we like. So, all in all, this seems to be shaping up to be an exciting camera. And a couple of the things that we're still looking for is what codec is going to use and how big are the files going to be. Now, Jared Polin recently mentioned that he assumes that the files are going to be huge, and thank goodness it's a dual card slot system, which they've already revealed, and it's got to be a CF Express card slot because, quite honestly, it's going to be too fast for the system. Now, Canon does do high megabit files when it comes to their videos, which is good because that means better quality. But in the case of the 5D Mark IV, it was a bit overkill with the MJPEG codec because you really didn't see that much of a benefit. In fact, I would render out 80 megabits per second H.264 files converted from the MJPEG files, and the quality difference was almost negligible. So that in itself is a waste of huge file sizes. But when Canon did H.264, they gave you 450 megabits per second, which led to amazing quality, which the 1DX Mark III is giving me amazing quality in a great compression, which is why I gotta test the hell out of this camera that's recording me right now. And this eye autofocus is doing amazing with this screen that I've got in front of me. I can tell that it's got me the whole time, which is oh, amazing. Anyway, but that I've spoken about in the past when it comes to the file sizes, it might be comparable in the EOS R5 because 8K files can't be rendered in H.264. And if it uses H.265, you can have a better compression for these 8K files. I've recorded 8K before in kind of a compressed format, and you could really go small and still get high detail. But too small and it doesn't look at all impressive. So you want to keep it at a decent megabit rate, and Canon's going to do that. And if it can go to SD card, that would be amazing. And it definitely is possible. Definitely is possible. So that's my personal opinion, but let me know what you guys think.
Dude,
Yeah?
I want to use the camera already.
Yes. I'm finishing already. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And as always, like, share, and you can make my day if you subscribe today. This is Magnus, and I'm out.
Can we get to testing already?
Tomorrow. See you later.
Hey man, come on, you're wasting all the memory card space. Enough with the video.